All right, so everyone, welcome back to Kol Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org and, of course, Yeshiva Tera Shimon. And Baruch Hashem, it's Parshat VaYakhel. It's also Shabbos Mevarchim, right? And we're going to read the special Haftarah, right? Because it's Shabbos Mevarchim and Sunday, right? Sunday is going to be Rosh Chodesh, Abba Lein L'Teiva, right? It's Rosh Chodesh Beis, Rosh Chodesh Adar Beis, Baruch Hashem. We should all have the simcha and feel the simcha of the Chodesh. And I'd like to say that I'm going to say that because yesterday I had the zchus to go to the Soroka Medical Center down in Beersheba. Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of Yehuda? Have you heard of it?
I heard the name. I'm not familiar at all.
Okay, it's a very big hospital. It's down south, so it's the closest hospital that's a real facility. I mean, you're talking about there are about 8 or 10 wings in this hospital. It's a huge campus. It's also a medical school. So it's a teaching hospital. So you understand, it's something very special. So we went down there because there are many chayalim, the chayalim that are the pitzuim, the injured ones, and these poor fellas. They're in this place, and we met some of them. We met some of them that are in the shikum, which is the rehab center, and then we met others that were just brought into the hospital. Some in the plastic surgery unit, others were in the burn unit, others were in the orthopedic unit. Unbelievable. So we heard over Shabbos last week there was a group of soldiers that entered into a building, and the building was booby trapped, and we lost 3 soldiers. We lost 3 soldiers in that mission. Hashem should avenge their blood. And there were 14 injured soldiers. And I want to tell you, Chevra, that I met these people yesterday, and these are by far the most courageous people that live today. I have to tell you this now. I met people yesterday that had scars and wounds on their faces that you couldn't see any flesh. Okay? It was all cut up. I never saw, but the person, these people were mamish molei simcha. They were full of joy, and they were thanking Hashem that they have their limbs. They were thanking Hashem that they were alive. Unreal. I'm telling you, it's something. You have to come to Israel and be there and to experience it. And we gave them different beautiful packages, and they're thanking us. And I keep telling them, no, you don't understand. It's we owe you the thanks. And they're just so appreciative. It's so beautiful. So we let's learn. Our learning now is for the well-being of the chayalim and the chitufim, the captives, the soldiers and the captives, and all of those that were injured. Because we read about the casualties, okay. But when you go to these facilities and you see the pain and suffering these people are going through, that nobody really knows about. Nobody really knows about it. I just really want to be moidiyah to everyone that they should understand. And when you're in the shul and they're saying that Shira Malais, Mimama Kim, then you're saying the Shira Malais Esoinai. And the mamish, and they're making the mishabah. Please feel the situation that we're really in. It's a dire situation. It's not a situation that's stam. These are all our. This is family. we are the Jewish family. We're one family, and we just have to recognize that. All right. So now let's learn. And again, it's for their merit, for their well-being. All right. Now there's so many things to talk about in this parsha. We know that this parsha is right after Parshas Kisisa. Vayakhel's right after Kisisa. We end off Parshas Kisisa with Moshe Rabbeinu getting the Keren Or. Right, he gets this infusion of light. He had a glow. Moshe Rabbeinu had a glow that the people couldn't deal with this light that he had. That he had to put a masva, he had to put a covering over his face. And he always was with a covering over his face, unless he was talking to Hashem. When he was talking to Hashem, he removed the covering. But it was with the Jewish people, they couldn't deal with the light. The light was just too bright. The light was way too bright. They couldn't deal with it. And because they couldn't deal with it, he covered his face. All right, okay. I'm sure everyone knows that, but it's good to talk about it. So the Kedushas Levi brings a Balaturim, right? A Balaturim. And the Balaturim is going to ask the question. Let's look at inside. Kosav Tam. Lama Samach Parshas VaYakhel L'Seif Parshas Kisisa. We're going to try to come up with an understanding, right? Why did the Torah arrange? Why were the Parshas arranged, right? The Parshas arranged in this way that right after we finish reading Parshas Kisisa, right away Vayakhel comes into play. So let's see. So this Kisham, Keren Or Pnei Moshe. So it's we know we finished the parsha talking about the Keren Or, that countenance, the light that was shining on Moshe's face. Ayin Sham V'nira the Siyata D'Shmaya Tam. So the Kedushas Levi says with Siyata D'Shmaya he's going to give us a reason. So let's see what he says. The Mavaya b'Medrash, Muva Bar Achayim Zal. The Medrash and Shemais Rabbah and the Or Chaim bring this down. The Moshe Zacha Lekarnei Haid Mitipas Diyoy Shenishtaya Bekulmas. Moshe Rabbeinu had in his feather, the kulmas is the feather that the sofer uses, right? You've all seen that, right? If you ever gone to Achnasa Sefer Torah and you wrote a letter, so that feather that the sofer uses is called the kulmas. Okay. So there was a little ink left in the quill, in Moshe Rabbeinu's quill. And that's why he was able to get this light. Interesting. Very interesting. What does one have to do with the other? Let's see. Shekosav alatzmai, that he wrote upon it by himself, for Ish Moshe onav miyayit. Hashem instructed Moshe Rabbeinu to write these words, Va'ish Moshe Anav Miyayit. Now, we know that Moshe Rabbeinu was Anav Mikol Adam, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was the Anav Mikol Adam. He was the most humble of all people. Could you imagine the pain that Moshe Rabbeinu had when he had to write? He had to write. Hashem instructed him to write that he's the Anav. He's the humble one. Could you think about that for a second? Right?
Sure.
Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, right, you're the humble one. But look what happened. Kosav Anav, so he wrote the word Anav below Yud. Moshe Rabbeinu made a deal with Hashem. Okay, Hashem, I'll write that. But please, don't make me write the word Anav full. I can't do that. So he left out the Yud from Anav. He left it out. Below Yud. Deloi rotza miroiv amdunosai lichtav Anav b'Yud. He didn't want to write. He was so humble. He didn't want to add another letter. I don't want to add another letter. Ayin shama me'atem evaya al nocha diyadua. Ma'aseh mevaya b'sifrei kodesh. Shemi shezoiche lechachma hu Anav. Someone that comes to wisdom, chachma, that person is a humble person. He's a humble one. It's very simple, right? How do you come? What's the chachma? To know Hashem. To know Hashem is in charge of the world. And to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge of everything and running everything. And Hashem is giving everything to us. And we have nothing without Hashem. Right? So if a person has such a chachma, such a das, such a chachma, so of course that person will be an honor. He'll say, what do I have? Ma'ani. What am I? Right? Like we say, what am I? Really, what do I have of myself? So if the person has chachma, he's an honor. The chachma hu yira, because chachma is yira. Like we say every morning, the ksiv, reishis chachma yiras Hashem. Right? Reishis chachma yiras Hashem. We say that in the morning, right after Moda'ani, right? Reishis chachma, the beginning chachma. What's the entry point to chachma? What is the most important point? The beginning of chachma, reishis chachma, yiras Hashem, to fear Hashem. Now again, when it comes to fearing Hashem, there are many different levels of fearing Hashem. Correct? There are many different levels, right? There are some people that fear Hashem because they're afraid they're going to get punched, right? If I don't do the right thing, Hashem will punish me. But then there are others that that'll do the right thing, and they're fearful because they have such a love for Hashem, right? They have such a beautiful relationship with Hashem, and because they have such a wonderful relationship with Hashem, they don't want to do something wrong, because by doing something wrong, I'm going to jeopardize my love relationship I have with Hashem. So that's another level. That's another level of yira. You understand? A low level of yira fear is, I'm not going to do this because if I do this, I'll get punished. I don't want to get punished. But that's good. That's also good. That's not bad at all, right? But to aspire to a higher level of yira, where you recognize how Hashem gives us so much. Hashem gives us so much in our lives. We have so much. We're so blessed, right? Our great-grandparents, right? Our great-grandparents would never imagine the lives that we live today. They didn't have the luxuries that we all have, that we became accustomed to, right? Right? We have running water in our homes. We have hot water. Wow. You don't have to go out to a bathhouse. Do you ever think of these things? Right? Everyone has some form of mode of transportation. If you don't have a car, you can take a bus, you can take a train. Right? Everyone can afford to go on a bus onto a train to travel. It's unbelievable. Did people have that before? No. How about the abundance of food that we have today? Right? The abundance of food that there is in the world at large. It's a beautiful thing. The chesed that we have. So if a person thinks about that, if a person thinks about how much we have, and our Kodesh Baruch Hu gives us, of course, the person will then come to this chachma, which comes to the yira. Right? Like we said, reishis chachma yiras Hashem. Ois yois re'iyah, sheroya, she'ilas ha'ilas. Adoin ko, the letters of re'iyah, right, of seeing, right, re'iyah. Sheroeh, that I see. She'ilas, I know what's up above, what's high and high. I know what's up above. Adoin ko, Hashem is the master of all. Baruch kol ha'olamas. Hashem created all of the worlds, all of the firmaments, the 7 firmaments in all of the worlds. V'chol chiyus ha'adam mimenu, Baruch Hu. And all my vitality that I have, that I can move, that I can listen, that I can speak, anything that I could possibly do is all coming from Hashem. Val yedei zeh adam hu onav sheyadeya she'adam einay klum. Because I realize without Hashem, what am I? Let's think for a second. A person we all have a neshama. Right, we have a nefesh, ruach, neshama, chayi, yechida. There's different levels of the neshama, right? We have different levels, okay? But so long as we have our neshama inside our bodies, we're able to function, right? The body works. But if HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes away the neshama, a body without a neshama is useless. Right? A body without a neshama is useless. So if I understand that everything I have is from Hashem, this is what Moshe Rabbeinu understood. Right? He was the Anav. Because Moshe Rabbeinu had the Chachma. Right? She'edei sh'adam einay klum, I'm nothing. All my life and my vitality in life comes only from Hashem. V'yadua, Mashe Kosav Arizal, the Chachma Nikra Yud. The Arizal teaches, it's a beautiful teaching from the Arizal, that Chachma is the letter Yud. Glal Kein Moshe, Shtahaya Anav, Machmas Chachmasai Shezacha LeChachma. Because Moshe Rabbeinu was the Anav, he had Chachma. He had Chachma because he was the Anav. It's one of the same. K'nayde Barizal. Loi Rotza Lichtayv Anav B'Yud Mi'Gaidalan V'Nasai. Because Moshe Rabbeinu was such a Anav. He was such a great, humble person. He didn't want to write it with the Yud. Shalayedu Shezachala Nava Machmas Hayud. He didn't want people to know that he got his Anava because of this Yud, because of the Yud, because of the Chachma. Dahainu Shezachal Chachma Dehu Yud. He didn't want people to know that. He didn't want people because, again, he was humble. So what's he going to show off? He has such wisdom. He's going to show that off. Chas v'sholem, Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't want to do that. L'zeh ramzu Rabbeinu Zechreinu Levracha shemeichmas hayud hazeh zocher lekarnei hoy. Because he didn't put that letter Yud in there, and the leftover ink that was in the kulmis, because he didn't put it in he didn't write the letter Yud, is where he gets that brightness from. Sha'akadosh Baruch Hu mishali mida keneged mida. Hashem paid him back. Mida keneged mida, tit for tat. Mida keneged mida. Sheloi rotza leidia shezacha lechachma. He didn't want to let the people know that he merited to have the chachma. The hu yud, that's the yud. Nasan loy Hashem is baruch karnei hoid. So Hashem gave him this radiance, the radiant light, right? Keren or ponim, which is the Keren, which is the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's countenance shone. It was shining on Moshe Rabbeinu's face. Shebazeh yedu hakol shezocha lechachma. Hashem says you don't want them to know about that you have chachma because of your anava, because of the yud. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you're fine. You won't let them know, but I'm going to make your face shine. And they'll know because your face is shining, you're connected to the Yud. You're connected to the Chachma. You're connected to the Anava. You see what Hashem did? Unbelievable. Now you see the connection. Why Moshe Rabbeinu, it says, Anav mikol Adam, Anav without the Yud. Right away, Moshe Rabbeinu has the Keren Arpanav. Why does he have it right then and there? Now we understand. Because Moshe Rabbeinu held back the Yud. And that little ink that was left in his kulmis, and it was in the quill. That was the Yud. And the Yud, the Arizal taught is Chachma. And Chachma we know is Anava. Because Moshe Rabbeinu was Anav. He didn't want people to know that he had the Chachma. So Hashem says, fine. You don't want to let them know, I'll let them know. Hashem said, I will let them know. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu had the countenance on his face. Unbelievable. Shebazeh yedu hakol shezacha lechachma kinema b'mishlei chachmas adam ta'ir panav. Look what it says in Koheles. Chachmas adam, the wisdom of a person, ta'ir panav, is illuminated on his face. How do you like that? The kiva and the Keren are upon him, the Moshe and the Nema beside Parshas Kisisa, merumas by ha'ech Moshe zacha lechachma. Hints to how Moshe Rabbeinu was able to get this chachma. That Moshe Rabbeinu had the chachma. Mashama hakosav samach loy Parshat VaYakhel. The voy Nema ha'ech Betzalel osa Mishkan. The whole idea of the Parshat VaYakhel, Moshe Rabbeinu got everybody together, and he talked about the different materials that were needed for the Mishkan. Right? He reviewed all the materials that were needed, and then how everyone gave, and it was Dai v'Oise, he gave too much, and Moshe Rabbeinu said, it's enough, it's enough, you gave enough. Moshe Rabbeinu said, we have enough. Did you believe that? Did you believe it? Moshe Rabbeinu was the first fundraiser, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was the first fundraiser, raising funds to build a Mishkan, right? The Melechas of Mishkan. Did you ever meet a fundraiser today that would tell you, oh, we have enough money? You ever find an organization like that?
What?
It doesn't exist, right? Rabbi Yehuda, did you ever hear about that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Because the only thing is, Rabbi, the people, they saw Moses' face with the light. They couldn't look at it. They just couldn't stand to look at it.
It was too bright. It was too bright. Like Ernie, like when the sun is going down, when the sun is so bright, you can't see it.
So you would think that they just couldn't look at the fact that he had the Chachma and the wisdom and the modesty.
No. But that's Ernie. You got it. That's the whole point. Because Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to keep it on the hush hush. He didn't want people to know, and therefore he didn't put the yud in. And the yud we said is the chachma. So Hashem said, "Oh yes, Moshe, you are the Anav, and everyone's going to know that you're the Anav. You are the Anav, and everyone will know that you are the humble person." And therefore Hashem made his face shine like Shlomo Melech wrote in Koheles, "Chokmas Adam toyer panav." The wisdom of a person is showing on his face. That's what Hashem did. But now we go on to say now here in Parshas VaYakhel, the boy Nemo ha'ech Betzalel osa et Mishkan. We know Betzalel did the Mishkan. You know, Moshe Rabbeinu told Betzalel to make the Mishkan. Told him about the Aron, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was thinking about the Aron, the kaparis, the covering, the kruvim. Oh, okay. But what did Betzalel do first? Betzalel made the Mishkan first, right? Betzalel made the Mishkan. Betzalel said, "How am I going to make the kelim? I won't have anywhere to put them, right? I'm not going to make the furnishings, right? First, let's make the house, right? And then we'll buy the furnishings, right? Is that what we normally do? Right? You have your house, you take your measurements, you make sure everything's going to fit, you order the things. But you don't order things before you have the house. So Betzalel also had Chachma. The Betzalel gam kein Zacha leChachma. Kinema v'amali oisei ruach elikim bechachma. Hashem filled v'amali oisei ruach elikim. He was filled with the ruach of Hashem. He was filled with the ruach of Hashem, which is also Chachma. And that's where Betzalel had this Chachma, because again, he was also the Anav. Of course he was the Anav. He was the student of Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? Betzalel was one of Moshe Rabbeinu's prize students. Right? That's why he was chosen to make the Mishkan. All right? So now we understand this idea why what is the connection between Parshas VaYakhel, right? With this idea that the Balaturim asked, why is it connected to last week's parsha? So we understand it very good now, right? And then Moshe Rabbeinu used when Hashem said to him to write that he's Anav Mikol Adam, he wrote the Anav without the Yud, and that ink that was left in the kulmus, that ink that was left in that quill. Moshe Rabbeinu was zeicha to get this countenance, this light, the light. Why? Because we made the connections. We said from the Arizal that Chachma is Yud. So Moshe Rabbeinu had the Chachma, so he retained the Yud for himself, so to say. He had the Yud, so he had the Chachma. But and we know that Shlomo Melech taught us in Koheles that Chachmas Adam Toyer Pana. Hashem said, you don't want to let the people know that you're a humble person, but I need the people to know that. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu was masking that Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't write the Yud in the Torah. You have to understand. And when we have our Torah doesn't have a Yud in it. It doesn't have the Yud. It's written that way.
See, Rabbi, my question is though, why would Hashem make something that the people couldn't stand to look at, in order for the people to understand that the Chachma and the modesty of Moshe. He made something that the people couldn't stand to look at, though.
No, but
Why would he do that? You know what I'm saying? That was my question.
Okay, wait. Okay. Wait a second. But they knew. But wait a second. Moshe Rabbeinu came to them, and then they told them, "We can't look at you. It's too bright. It's too bright. It's too bright." Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to have that brightness on his face. Did he want that? He didn't want that. He didn't want that. He was caught. Right? He's the Anav. Right? He was the Anav. Hashem says, "I'm going to let the people know who you are. We're going to let them know." Why was it so bright? Why was it so bright? Because it was Hashem's light. It was Hashem's light. So the people knew that Moshe Rabbeinu was something special, unique, unlike any other person. Moshe Rabbeinu is unlike any other person. He's unlike anyone else. No one is an Anav like Moshe Rabbeinu. No one gets this light like Moshe Rabbeinu got. And only because he was trying to hold it back. Only because he was holding it back. He didn't want to write the Yud. Therefore, he was able to get the light. And wait a second. And Betzalel, that's why it connects to this parsha. And Betzalel also had this chachma. And that's how Betzalel was able to build a Mishkan with this chachma, because he was also V'amalei Oisei Ruach Elikim. All right, so that's the connection that we had over here, because he was an Anav. We connect the Anivas together, and therefore we were able to get the connection of the parsha. Now let's look at the next piece. The next piece is fascinating, and again we're learning something from the Kedushas Levi, Rav Levi Yitzchak ben Sora Sasha. He was known as the protector of Klal Yisrael, and boy, do we need protection today. Okay, so let's look something else up here now. Oyevaya the Samach Parsha Parsha Zu Azhara Shabbos Litzivoy Meleches HaMishkan. Okay, so it's a very interesting thing. Right away in the beginning of the parsha, we talk about Shabbos. Right, talk about Shabbos. So Chazal talk about it. Right, Chazal talk about it that we would think that building the Mishkan is so important. Right, building the Mishkan is such an important thing. We're building the house of Hashem. So we should never stop. Kamash Malon, no, you do stop. You do stop. Ad kidei kach, that we learn out, so much so that we learn out the 39 prohibitions of things we don't do, categories on Shabbos that we don't do, right? We have those 39 categories that we don't do on Shabbos. We learn it out from the things that we're building of the Mishkan. Right? So the Rebbe says now, Kamash Kosav Rashi, Nira B'siyata D'Shmaya. The Kedush Levi says nearer to me, but b'siyadish by the Indian Shmira Shabbos who sheyeda ha'adam. A person has to know sha'Hakadosh Baruch Hu bara ha'olam b'sheishes yamim. We need to know that Hashem created the world in 6 days, and He's constantly recreating the world in 6 days. He's constantly recreating it every week. It's a new. All right. And on the 7th day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu rested. Okay, we know that. Kinemar ki sheishes yom asa Hashem es hashemayim v'esharetz ki lazeh samach azhara Shabbos. Next to that, we have the warning, the azhara of Shabbos, the yeda ha'adam, that a person has to know shakadosh Baruch Hu bara olam b'sheishes yomim. Limeleches HaMishkan, Shenema Bay, She'asasai Betzalel, that Betzalel did. Shehu Yada B'Kavanosai, B'Kavanaseha, U'Pretaseha, he knew the Kavana, he knew the nuances, every nuance, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shebara HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Olam B'Sheishes Yamim. Betzalel understood this really well, that Hashem made the world in the 6 days. Kamar b'seinu zchuen l'vraka. Sheyeda hayam Betzalel litzaref oisios. Betzalel knew how to connect the words. He knew how to connect letters. Shenivra b'hem shemayim v'aretz. Betzalel understood the letters that Hashem used in order to create the heavens and earth. What words Hashem used, what letters He connected, in order to put the creation of the world into play. Shenivra b'ayim shemayim v'aretz. Ad kan l'shaynai. That's the end of the lashon. Right? And now look what he says now. V'kiva and the yadat seira fa'ois yois. Now it says the Kedushas Levi. Right? In other words, that was the Gemara in Brachas. Now the Kedushas Levi says, V'kiva and the yadat seira fa'ois says, because Betzalel knew the formation of the letters, shel brias hashemayim v'aretz, of the creating of the heavens and earth, hemin be'emuna shalema. He believed with full faith. Sha'akadosh Baruch Hu bara olam b'sheishes yamim lazeh samach hazara Shabbos, and therefore he has the connection of the prohibition of Shabbos, the warning of Shabbos. Shu gam kein azhara sheyedu akol be'emuna shalema, that we all need to know. We need to know, right? With full faith. Sha'akadosh Baruch Hu bara olam b'sheishes yamim v'yom hashvi Shabbos v'yinafash. We need to know that. So that's why the 39 prohibitions come out of the Melechas HaMishkan. So we should understand and know. The same way Hashem did these 39 categories of things as it was with the building of the Mishkan and creating of the world. So we have to know that Hashem created the world in the 6 days and he did everything. That's when we do our work and we do our things. But when on Shabbos, we have to know that Hashem rested, and therefore we rest as well. And that's what the connection of the Melechas HaMishkan and the Azhara Shabbos are both together. That we, the same way Betzalel understood that Sefer Fa'osis, that all the letters that Hashem used in order to be able to create the world, and he knew that so well, and he believed it so much so, we have to believe the same thing. We have to believe that Hashem created the world in the 6 days. And on the 7th day he rested, and that's why we're resting. And that's why we are resting. It's an unbelievable idea from the Holy Kedushas Levi, but I want to learn something also from Rav Nosson, of course, our master teacher, from Rav Nosson. And look what he says over here. Vayasu kol chacham lei ba'oisei melachas hamishkan. Here we go. Vayasu kol chacham lei. Again, chachma, right? Chacham leiv, whoever had a wise heart. Ba'isei ha'malacha etz ha'mishkan. Moshe hiskil ledaber me'asiyas ha'aron tchila. Moshe Rabbeinu started, like we mentioned a moment ago, talked about building the Aron, right? The ark, which housed the Torah, which housed the luchos, and it had the luchos, the shvarim, the broken luchos were in there. Right, we had the broken luchos, the second set of luchos shniyos, and we had the Torah in there. Right, so Moshe Rabbeinu is thinking, we start with the Aron. But Betzalel also lehepa, but Betzalel did the opposite. HaMishkan tchila, he made the Mishkan first. Ki Amar, because he said, Kelim shani yoyse heichin ach niseim. Where, if I make these vessels, where am I going to put them? If I don't have a house to put them in, where are they going to be? Ki Moshe Shu Tzaddik Hadar. Moshe Rabbeinu is the Tzaddik Hadar. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu is the Tzaddik of all Tzaddikim. He's the Tzaddik. Tzarech lahamshich hamtaka mikodesh kadoshim. He takes his hamtaka. He takes his sweetening of judgment from the Holy of Holies. Moshe Rabbeinu is connected to the Holy of Holies. All right, mikodesh kadoshim. Mibechinas ha'aron tchila. That's why he talks about the Aron first. Ki efshar lahamtik dinim ka'elu ulegales ha'lamas v'astoros ka'elu ki im ha'yedei ha'seichel ha'elyon ha'koila. Moshe Rabbeinu said, I can only reveal. We can only reveal to the world the hidden things and the secrets. Ki im al yedei ha'seichel ha'elyon ha'koila. I need that upper wisdom. That's kaila, that's all inclusive. Shu bechinas kodesh kedashim, that's the kodesh kedashim. Okay, bechinas luchos ha'even shahayu munachim ba'aron. We had the luchos that were stone, the stone tablets that were placed in the Aron. Sha'amad sham bebeis kodesh kedashim. And where was that placed? It was placed in the Holy of Holies. Umisham mamshech seichel l'chol hanilvim elav. And from there comes out all of the wisdom, all the seichel for those that follow in the ways of Moshe Rabbeinu and ways of the Torah. Legales ha'alama, to reveal the hiddenness. They reveal the hiddenness, to reveal that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is behind everything. Ki tzrichin seichel elyon gavoya v'amak mi'oid legalas etzem ha'alama v'shabayla. To understand how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is really hidden in the world. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, and he made himself, and he made what's called the Hester Panim. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu hides, he hides in the world. And we have to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. That's our job, to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The same way the kids play the game, hide, go, seek, right? It's a fun game, right? The kids love that. They play that game, hide, go, seek, right? It's our job to go and find Hashem. He's hiding, we have to find him. Semispashet habaldover kol kach v'hilim ha'emes min olam. Because the baldover, the other side, the Yetzer Hara, he's working so hard. He worked so hard to conceal the truth from the world. He's doing a very good job today, right? Right? The Sitra is doing such a good job in the world, hiding the truth to the world, right? You have billions of people in the world speaking nonsense, foolishness. They don't have any idea what they're saying. But why are they saying these things? Because again, it's the Baal David that's trying to hide the truth. It's the Yetzer Hara trying to hide the truth. That's what's going on. That's what we're witnessing today. Shezeh HaSeichel hu bechinas Even Shesiyah. That's the Seichel, that's the Even Shesiyah. Where's the Even Shesiyah? It's on Har HaBayis. The Even Shesiyah is on Har HaBayis, in the Kodesh Kedoshim on Har HaBayis, on the Temple Mount. The whole world is going crazy for the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount, you believe that? Why? Do you ever think of that? Why would the world care? It's a space. What do they care? No, we can't have it. No, they need it. That's mamish the Baal Dover. That's mamish the Baal Dover. Bebechinas kodesh kedoshim zeh bechinas kol ma'asei Mishkan. All the fabrication of the Mishkan, ubeis hamikdash, hakol b'shvil legales ha'alama, legales elikusa yizbarach. The whole thing was to take HaKadosh Baruch Hu and reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the world. That's the whole point, the hiddenness, to bring out the high hiddenness, a legales elikusa yizbarach, to reveal Hashem. And therefore we were commanded to build the Mishkan. When? After we stumbled with the Egel, the Maisa Egel. That was in last week's Parsha, right? Parsha's Kisisa. He called Maisa Egel Haya Ayde Pagam Emunas Chachamim. Where did the whole idea of the Egel come from altogether? They had a pagam. There was a blemish in their faith in the Chachamim, right? They said, "What happened to Moshe?" So what happened? They had kinna. They were jealous of Moshe v'Aaron. And what did they do? V'hargu es Chur. They killed Chur, the nephew. Chur. V'rotzu lahara against Aaron. They wanted to kill Aharon next. You hear this? These Erev Rav wanted to kill Aharon a Kohen. That was Oyev Shalom, Rodev Shalom. Ad sheheviu es Yisrael lidei avodah zara kishirah. They let the Jewish people stumble when they saw. What did they see? Let's see where the next page is. Here. He showed the Hainu. Let me see. Let me get the right page. Give me 1 second, Chevra. Hold on. No. I think it's this one. It's this one. And they saw the Moshe Goydel Halama, right? They saw from Moshe the Goydel Halama Azois sheyesh koyach la baldover lahalim ha'emes kol kach. We see from this story how the Baldova, the Yetzer Hara, was able to hide the truth so much so. Sha'acha Yetzias Mitzrayim, after these people witnessed the exiting of Egypt, Ukriyas Yamsuf, and the splitting of the Red Sea, splitting of the sea, Matan Torah, and they were all standing on Har Sinai. They were standing on Har Sinai. They were part of Kabbalas HaTorah, and they saw the miracles of Kabbalas HaTorah. They saw signs, they saw miracles like no one else ever saw. They saw the most amazing things with their own eyes. Until the Rishayim were able to hide the truth so much so. Oz, Vayadei Riboy Tfilos of Paul, Shetziva Hashem Yisbarach Amalechas HaMishkan. But Moshe Rabbeinu went to bat for Klal Yisrael, right? He didn't accept. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't accept that Hashem said, I'm going to destroy the Jewish people, and I'll make another nation. Moshe Rabbeinu did not accept that. He refused to accept that. And he kept praying to Hashem. He kept praying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu until Hashem said to him, okay, make the Mishkan. Make the Mishkan. Look at the connection. Shetziva Hashem Yisbarach al Malechas HaMishkan she'ika kedushasai nimshach miluchas ha'even. The main kedusha comes from those stone tablets. Mikodesh Kedoshim, from the Holy of Holies, in that place. He was able to draw. He merited to draw the sweetening of the judgment of the Kodesh God. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to sweeten all the judgment of the world that came from that place of the Kodesh Kedoshim. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to take the hiddenness away, and he was able to reveal God in the world. And he brought to us beautiful advice. We know that the 613 mitzvahs are 613 different advices, different ideas of serving Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to bring to us 613 mitzvahs from the Torah. Now look what he says. Aval talmidim hanil v'meila shemekavlim zeh haseichel v'tzrichin legalis b'olam. The students have to reveal this to the world also. V'tzrichin livnais binyanim v'chadorim harbe laseis kelim harbe. They have to build many, many different buildings, and different rooms in the buildings, many different things. V'laseis kelim harbe. They have to make a lot of different vessels. Ad sheyachnisu zeh seichel b'olam. In order for us to bring this seichel into the world, we have to reveal Hashem in the world. Val came Betzalel, shu bechinas hatalmid shel Moshe. Betzalel is the student of Moshe Rabbeinu, like we learned before. Sha'asik b'masei Mishkan. He was working on actually physically building the Mishkan. Moshe Rabbeinu taught him about it, but he was the I guess you get the project the project manager, right? B'masei Mishkan shehulchach la'aseis Mishkan tchila b'achar kach kelim. Betzalel said, no. Moshe Rabbeinu, I understand you're taking your tikkun from the highest place, from the Kodesh Kedoshim, the Even Shasiya, the Luchas. I got that, Moshe Rabbeinu. But we can't relate to that. We need the Mishkan first. We need a place. We need a place, walls. We need something. We need a building. We need something. Hukrich la'aseis Mishkan tchila v'achar kach kelim. And then I'll make the kelim. Ki hukrich la'alois mitato le'iloh. He had to start from the bottom and work his way up. Right? You start on the bottom and you work your way up. Lahalbish batchila haseichel bechinas Mishkan. He had to first work on this idea of the Mishkan. Let's start on the end. We'll start lower and we'll work our way up. Let's make the building first. Let's talk about the building. And then we'll talk about how awesome the kalim were, the furnishings of the building, how awesome they were. But let's talk about the building first. And then he made the Aron. That illuminates, that shines. Where in the base Kodesh Kedoshim, in the Holy of Holies. The place that the Kohen Gadol was able to go only one time a year. Only the Kohen Gadol was able to go there one time a year. Right? One time a year, that's it. But that doesn't mean the holiness was not there. Of course it was there. Because it was there, that's why he couldn't go in. But one time a year that we were able to, Kohen Gadol was able to be on such a high level that even the Kohen Gadol was able to go in to that place. Only one time. Ki efshel lahachnis ze haseichel ba'olam kima yedei hakdomos rabbis. You have to, if you want to bring this seichel into the world, you have to have a lot of introductions. Shein bechinas asiyas hamishkan. And that's what is the idea of building the Mishkan, making the Mishkan. Ki kol masei hamishkan lebeis hamikdash. Because the whole building of the Mishkan, all of the prate pratim, all of the specific nuances of building the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash, Kol Chadarav, all the rooms, all the chambers, antechambers, the Caliph and all of its vessels, Hein Bechina Seichel Gavoya Miseichel. This is a Seichel, this is some type of an intellect that's higher than intellect. Seichel lifnim. It's an inner seichel. Mi seichel ad bechinas kodesh kedoshim shesham luchos ha'evan. Until it goes back to the luchos ha'evan. And that's where all the light comes from. That's where all the sanctity comes from. Shemisham mamshech hatzadik hamtoka legalei salama. That's where the tzaddikim go to that place. They go to that holy of holies. Into that place. They take from that place Legale salama, to reveal the hiddenness, what's hidden in the world. What's hidden in the world? Hashem is hidden in the world. Aval ef shelahoyer ze haseichel ba'olam kima yedei hakdomas rabbis. You have to bring a lot of introductions. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, I can do this right away. Let's talk about the Aron first. Let's make the Aron. Betzalel said, no. Rebbe, you're on a very, very high level. The world's not ready. The world is not ready for this, Rebbe. We have to let's make the Mishkan first. Let's make the Mishkan. Let's make the Adonim. Let's collect the Maksas HaShekel. Let's make the Adonim, those sockets that went on the bottom, right? There were the posts that the sockets went into from the Kroshim, right? The beams went into them. Let's make first those things on the bottom, the foundation. We'll start on the bottom, we'll work our way up. Right, until they made the amudim, those amudim, right, those beams, right, those beams, and then they were able to put the skins over it to cover it, right, one covering over another, over the next covering, right. We'll do all of these things gradually, and then we'll be able to build the Mishkan, and then we'll be able to build the Kalim, we'll build the Aron. That goes into the Kodesh Kedoshim. That we're going to place the Luchos HaEvan in. That we're going to place the Luchos Shnias in. Right? The second Luchos and the Luchos Rishonim, the first one that were broken. The Sheshova that were broken. We put it in there with the Torah. Shehem Bechinas Asiyas HaMishkan Tchila V'achar Kach HaOren Shesham Luchos HaEvan. That's where the Luchos HaEvan was. That's where the holy Luchos HaEvan was found. Where was the Luchos HaEvan found? In the Aron, in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Unbelievable idea from Rav Nassim. Why? To understand why Moshe Rabbeinu says build the Aron first, but Betzalel understands, Rebbe, I respect you more than anything. But Rebbe, I want you to understand that the people need to start on the bottom and work their way up. They're not on your level. But again, let's understand something like we started this year. Moshe Rabbeinu is Anav Mikol Adam. He's the most humble. So Moshe Rabbeinu thinks that everyone is greater than him. Moshe Rabbeinu can't understand how if I'm the most humble person, if I'm the lowest of the low, Moshe Rabbeinu says about himself, and I can understand the Aarons first. How come the people don't understand that? You get that? You understand? That's why he says, let's make the Aaron first, because that's where he was holding. But Betzalel told him, Rebbe, it's nice that you think that we're all holding on a higher level than you, but that's not the case. That's not the case. We can't handle it this way. We need to first make the Mishkan. Let me do it this way. Let's make the Mishkan. Let's gradually build. Let's gradually build up on the Kedusha. We'll gradually do it so everyone can be part and parcel of it. And that's an amazing, amazing understanding of what was going on in the Meleches HaMishkan. To me, it's an amazing, amazing idea. You know, in the morning, we're learning in Likutei Halachos. Every day we have a beautiful shir in Efrat, Baruch Hashem. Mordechai, the guy over there, he's wearing his headphones. He comes to the shir every day. Baruch Hashem, we have a Nate's Minyan. We have a Nate's Minyan in Efrat. We started our Chabura we're Breslov Efrat, and we started this beautiful Nate's Minyan. It's coming on 2 years. It's coming on 2 years, and Baruch Hashem, we have a beautiful chevra that comes to learn every morning, comes to daven and comes to learn. So today, so we were learning this beautiful concept that every day we say the Mishnah in Peah, right? Elu dvarim shein lahem shia, haPeah v'habikurim v'harayin u'gemilas chasodim v'talmud Torah, right? And then we list another list of things of what are the things that we can have the dividend in this world, but we will get the principle in the next world. And the question is, why do we constantly have to say this every day? And why every day do we have to say the Birchas Kahanim? Why do we say the Birchas Kahanim after Kabbalah, after we say the Birchas HaTorah every day? Reb Zushi, do you ever think of that?
Absolutely, yeah. That's a wonderful thing. The concept, yes.
There we go. So let's understand the concept for a second. Let's talk about it for a moment. We still have a few minutes, so let's talk about this concept, okay? And the idea is to connect to Hashem every day. Every day we have to connect to the Ratzon Hashem. Every day it's upon us to connect to the Ratzon Hashem. Why? Because the Ratzon Hashem, there's a place called Ratzon Sheberatzon, Ravid de Ravid, this high place in Shemayim that's called Metzach HaRatzon, the high of the holy of the holies. We're talking about the holy of holies. That's the highest place. All pidyon comes from that place. Anytime we get a salvation in our lives, anytime we get a reprieve from something, anytime we get something, it comes from that place of pidyon. It comes from that high place every time. The question is, how do we connect to this place, to this pidyon hakoilo, this pidyon ha'elyon, hakoilo that's all inclusive? How do we connect to it? So every time we remember Hashem, right? Every time we remember Hashem, in Shema, when we say the Shema every day, right? We say the Shema every day. And if you count the words in Shema, right? If you count the words and the letters, you'll see that you have 25, there are 25 letters in Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. There are 25 letters. And then we say the next stanza we say is Baruch Shem Kivod Machuso Liolam Voed. Right? There's only 24 letters in that stanza. Did you know that? 25, 24. What's the significance? 25 is connected to the Rav and the Ravin. It's connected to the Ratzon Elyon, to that place of pidyon. That's why, do you ever think of something? Why they instruct us, and then we know that the last words a person is supposed to utter in his life, right? After 120, when the last words a person is supposed to utter, the words is, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Do you ever think about why that is? You ever think about why it is? We all know that, right? The last words we say is Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We hope that we'll be able to do that on that day after 120, right? We say those words Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu because by doing that I connect to the Ratzon Elyon. I want to connect to the Ratzon Elyon. Why? There's another Ratzon. There's a Metzach HaTachton. The Metzach HaTachton is connected to the 24 courthouses up on high. There are 24 courthouses up on high, and these 24 courthouses up on high are run by judges that are very angry. There's a charanaf, there's an anger. Why? Because the judges see what's going on in the world, and they see with the disgrace that's going on, how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is being disgraced in the world, and they're very angry. The judges are very angry about this. So the question is, how do we bypass those judges and get to the place of pidyon, from Hashem? How do we do it? With Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. 25. Now, when we say, what we do is, we say, in the morning, Vaydab Hashem el Aharon ve'albanav lema ko sevarchu es b'nei Yisrael. Right? Ko sevarchu es b'nei Yisrael. The word ko is kaf, hey, ko. 25. The birchas kahanim, when the kahanim bless us, yivarechecha. What's yivarechecha? Blessing us with money. V'yishmerecha. From the mazikim, Rashi tells us from the mazikim that the money shouldn't be attacked by the mazikim. We shouldn't be held back from giving tzedakah. Why from tzedakah? Because tzedakah is the greatest way for me to give. When I give charity, what I'm doing is I'm taking from the money that I earned, my money that I earned, right? And I'm giving it away to somebody else. Why? Because that's the Ratzon Hashem. Hashem wants me to do that. So what's the greatest demonstration of me aligning, of anyone aligning their own desire with the desires of Hashem, the Ratzon of Hashem? How do I connect my Ratzon, my desire with the desire of Hashem? By giving charity. Because charity is the hardest thing to do. Right? I want the money for myself. I earned it. Why would I want to give it away? But Hashem says to give it away. So if I understand that I only have the money, that it's a gift from Hashem, that Hashem gave me the gift, I'm the custodian of this money. Is it really mine? The money that we have, is it really ours? Does anyone take the money with them? No. You know what money you take with you? The money you gave to tzedakah. Whatever money you give to charity, that's the money you take with you to the next world. The money you gave to charity, that's your money. The money that you have in your bank account, you think it's yours. Yeah, the Yetzer Hara makes us believe it's our money. Oh, it's yours. Yeah, sure it's yours. But most people have plenty of money in their bank accounts, right? But do they wind up giving it for tzedakah? Do they wind up doing the right thing with it? Not necessarily. Lav dafka. But the Chazal teach us the greatest demonstration is when we can give tzedakah. Because when we give tzedakah, we're aligning our desire with the desire of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The more we can do this, and the more we can connect to that place, that high place of understanding that Metzach HaRotzon, that high place, and I can bring pidyon into the world. I can bring the pidyon into the world, the salvation that the world desperately needs. So the more we can connect to Hashem with the Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, the more we can do that, the more we do that, we bring more salvation in the world. We bring more salvation, more recognition of Hashem. How can I do it myself? I give tzedakah. Give more charity. Give more charity, because that's showing that I'm aligning my will with the will of Hashem. It should be the will of Hashem that He should send us Mashiach Tzidkeinu Mamish B'Kara B'Yameinu. And we should be able to see Mashiach Tzidkeinu with our eyes. And we should all together be able to march with Mashiach Tzidkeinu to Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh. We should be able to march together with Mashiach to Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, to the Har HaBayis, with the Binyan Bayis Shlishi, Mamish B'Kara B'Yameinu. I want to thank everyone for joining.
Amen.
I want to thank everyone for joining today, and it was wonderful to see everybody. And the Mitzvah Hashem, we will do this. Everyone should have a wonderful Shabbos and a good Chodesh.